Go. Hello and welcome to Capsule Cast 2021 season week 4. I am your host Destiny with your co-host Doorguard.
I love being on season week 4.
2021 season week 4. I'm sorry.
Glad I could be here.
And today we got Kaiju supporter guest N3. Say hello.
Hello, people. Sorry, I'm not the coach.
Just us. We tried. But hey, your next best thing. So,
Hooray!
with that, shall we get moving on?
Of course.
All right. And here we have with match 1, Cinema versus Androids. And if you see something a little bit different here, I managed to get the prediction vote of the week onto the slide, so we'll be seeing that. Cinema with a 40% prediction vote and Androids with a 60%. But some big moments in this match is Fasha taking it to Android 16, only going down like 2 bars before tagging against Perfect Cell after taking like half a bar from him. And I think my second favorite moment of this match was just Frieza basically going even with Cell. And then coming down to a Fasha victory again. So, Doorguard, what do you think about this match?
Yeah, it was a little surprising. I think people expected Androids to start getting their wins. Not that Cinema's, a weak team by any regard, but after the weird start, people expected Androids here. So it's just expectation at some point for them to start racking up some wins. No matter who the opponent is outside of a divisional, maybe it's more up and con. That's why a lot of people voted on Androids. So unsurprising to see the popularity go that way. But yeah, Cinema's been a strong team, and I don't think anybody's been expecting them to have so much issues with guys like 16, and more importantly, Cell seems to be more human. He's not even like doing bad this season, but being closer to the 40-50k range is it's different. I don't think anybody was expecting that, though it does mean 19's been stepping up, which is ironic and kind of funny. But hey, I think they would love that. They love spamming his emoji in chat. Yeah, obviously lots of stuff still to come out with with the free agents here starting after this week. I think week 6 it's allowed to take the free agent out for free, so we'll see if that changes though. Early Piccolo not as big a deal as Garlic Jr. coming back potentially for Cinema. Though I don't know how much Cinema truly needs Garlic Jr. with how well they've been doing, but we'll see. Might pull out Turles. I wouldn't be surprised to see a little bit of Garlic Jr. just because they swap builds. Relatively simple. Yeah, what do you think, N3? This was a little bit more of a brawly match, but it kind of fell to the wayside pretty quick.
Yeah, with the 1v1 between Fasha and 16, I'm not gonna crap on 16. It's just that Fasha had the better melee kit over him, as prior seasons just kind of showed off what she can do. I'm just kind of surprised how 16 and Cell have been dropping the ball, honestly. I honestly thought that if Cell would have gotten a lead over second form Frieza and tagged, it might have increased the android's chances of winning severely, since he has EL compared to 17 and 19. But once he basically choked that away, I just knew that Cinema was going to win.
Mm-hmm.
It was pretty interesting to see how it led off, because we don't really see people tag with like only losing 1 bar that often, so that was also a good thing to see. I mean, fun.
Yeah, both teams had a couple tags. Androids were needing the tags to be a little more frequent, a little more specific in order to get that match back, unfortunately. Where Cinema kind of just felt like they were rubbing it in with their tags more so than anything.
Yeah.
I think especially with that Foster tag after only really losing 2 bars.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think overall this was a good match, and I guess for some characters, defense on a melee character is better than all around offense on a melee character.
Yeah,
we'll
I
s-
think it's just to be seen. Obviously, you guys have had a few builds on Fasha, so this is just one of the ones, and this is the one you get when Jane happens to be out. So we'll see if she can keep it up when Jane's taking Eternal Life back and she switches AIs as well. 16 on a new AI this week. They are just trying to find his rhythm right now since he seems to be bouncing around a lot. And again,
Is it?
Cell 17 and 19 are all doing their 40 to 50. It's just none have been consistently hitting that 60 to 70 that they're used to for winning matches.
Isn't 16 usually on Broly AI?
Yes.
But it's doing very bad.
Yeah, and that's why they changed it to Trunks AI, just to see if there would be any changes to it.
Don't be surprised if we see some more melee AIs like Majin Buu here soon, just because they need to keep trying to get them working before the season ends. They want to make it to playoffs.
I mean, not just anyone can say they took down 2 bars of Fasha all the time, but with that, shall we get moving on to round 2 here?
Alright.
That works.
Alright, and here we are with round 2, Rugrats versus Budokai. Some eventful moments for me was Cyberman actually looking pretty even with Yamcha to start, and then honestly the Aurelie coming in with fabulous ultimate versus Cyborg Tao and getting him to do like less than 10k, and then Android 18 at least trying to bring the match back, but as you can see, it really didn't go that way since not even Cell Jr. came in, who was the last character in the match for Rugrats. But with that, Doorguard, what were some moments you liked about this match?
Necessarily liked. I'd just say it's probably frustrating that your best character is apparently your free agent. So when your free agent's out, you all of a sudden struggle pretty hard. Nam is looking very good, but he's matchup dependent due to his limitations. And Cyborg Tao I thought was going to have a lot better season, but he's shown a little too many cracks early on here, but not out of it. Obviously, Rugrats have been on a roll since hitting the getting second place last season, and they're fighting to get back there. Not too many changes in the off season, so it's surprising to see them still rolling on. Though, yeah, definitely. I don't think, especially after Budokai had that close divisional last week, I don't think anybody expected them to struggle as much. But obviously, a lot of people thought that Rugrats had the lead as they had the higher in the 60% to 40% for prediction vote. So was interesting to see for sure. I think it just goes to show how scary Base Kid Trunks is still, and Aurelie obviously being the demon child, that'll probably never go away. What about you, N3? These are obviously both teams that still could put up quite a threat.
Yeah. I was surprised to see how non-existent Nam was during that entire match. Sure, he laid a bit of damage to Kid Trunks, but that was basically it. And I honestly thought I was gonna see more from Aurelie because of that. All I'm like, oh my god, is she just gonna tear through everything else? And I thought it was kind of funny that Yamcha kind of got the last hurrah by launching his ultimate before just getting destroyed by Cyberman.
Yeah, well, I'll say I was a little surprised that 18 ended up having higher stats than Yamcha, because it felt like she kind of dirtled a little more than he did. Like, he was struggling for sure, but I felt like he was attempting more. But I guess that just goes to show how strong 18 is, and hopefully she can keep up with some 50k performances for them.
Hopefully.
Didn't 18 go like max power mode 3 times and wasted almost every single one?
Depends what you call waste, because she threw B2s most of the time, but ults no. Though, to be fair, her ult is a rush, so it's arguably better that she's not ulting.
Yeah. I think she did like... I think I remember like AB2 or maybe a max power mode combo from one of her max power modes, so...
Yeah, she definitely did at least one like combo with the free B2, but I don't recall her getting too much health off, but it doesn't matter too much. The biggest point is she is utilizing her blast stocks, which is obviously extremely good since they gave her nothing for blast stocks. That was just her naturally getting them and using them.
And for someone that you don't really see clash that often, Power Rage is doing really decently on 18.
I think that's because they want her to rely on using her ult after going into max power. They want her to just go sadistic 18, and if she gets in a clash, win the clash, probably launch it again.
Yeah, the idea is certainly there. But with that, shall we get moving?
Yeah, I'm good.
All right, and here we got Dirt versus Royals, and as you can see by the prediction vote, Royals were really heavily favored for this match. But some key moments: Base Vegito going even with Metacooler, one of the, I think, the best Royals member right now in terms of stats, which no one really expects Metacooler to do so well. And I think another point of this match was Supreme Kai doing as well as he did. Normally he's like one of those volatile characters. Yeah, he has pop-off weeks, but most of the time he didn't really have that good of a showing. But this week he did a near elite, only 4k off. Two more things that I saw were Salza kind of dirt a bit, just not really launching any B2s after a while, and Lord Slug almost fully bringing it back, especially versus like Salza, who's one of the better characters of Derp, even though he did Derp a little bit. But hey, it's always good to see Lord Slug being not really the strongest character on Royals doing something, but hey, it's always nice to see. Doorguard, what were some moments of this match that you found interesting?
One prediction vote was 70-30, 70% for Royals, and it was looking like it was a dominating victory for Derp when all they had was Lord Slug. There was a single health bar on Supreme Kai, Dodoria, and a full health Salza coming in. But yeah, Slug just outspammed Salza, and while they were both on Eternal Life builds, the defense one just did not quite hold up against the spam one, giving Slug the opportunity to come back. Though to be fair, one of the reasons Slug is quite scary in his Eternal Life build is he tends to be going giant, and with Indignation and usually being at 1 bar, using his 4-bar Explosive Wave does like 12k. So it's like an ult, but he's not actually ulting. So he hit like 2 of those in a row to just destroy Salza. So can't blame him too much on that. But yeah, I think it was interesting. Supreme Kai definitely struggling hardcore for Derp. Especially if you look at like week 1 where he basically did nothing. It's like he's been ramping up. So it's scary to see if he can ramp up past 96, because that's a pretty good performance all in all. But clutch to keep his team in it when they were already so far in the lead and Slug nearly snapped it away. It'll be interesting to see if, like I said, if Kai can hold that down. Obviously, we know Salz is very good, so he should be able to step it back. And it's not a ton to say on Royals because they've all looked very good. It just comes down to matchups. And obviously, it was interesting to see Slug do what he did. But if you've been watching testing, you know that Slug's had that ready. It's just when would it come out? Speaking of testing it, yeah, in 3, what did you think of this match? Obviously, both these teams have done immense amount of testing this offseason to be ready.
Oh, absolutely. I legitimately thought that Slug was going to bring it back. Not going to lie, I actually thought it was going to happen. I was surprised at how little Salsa did overall. I mean, based on how much how he only had a rush ultimate, he could have just hit a scattered finger beam or his full energy wave to at least deal some more damage to Slug before dying. But like Destiny said, he just derped, and I just was like, oh wow, this is gonna go perfect for Royals since Supreme Kai, well, even though he transformed to Capito Kai, only had 1 bar. I forgot that he was in max power when he showed up and could punch through the Giant's power body, and then he launches the ult.
He actually charged up to max power, and Salza did seem to break after Giant Slug came out. So
yeah, but it was a good way to finish the match off with Supreme Kai to win an ultimate. I guess you can say it was a perfect way to. It was, and I just lost. Never mind, I just lost my train of thought.
it was a decent combo. He did his stun B1, which doesn't normally hit all the time, and into the ultimate to finish off.
It was just awesome to watch. What I also liked was seeing Vegito go toe-to-toe with Cooler as well. I mean, doing testing, and you see Cooler being Metacooler just a constant thorn in everyone's side, whoever is starting, whether it's someone on the Bujins or someone on Kaiju or Cinema. It's whenever Cooler starting against whoever, it's seeing anyone going toe-to-toe or even beating him is a rarity to see. So just seeing Vegito take him down kind of shows how he's not so threatening as a starter that he usually is.
And with that, either of you got any final thoughts before we can move on?
No.
I mean, it'll be interesting to see if Kui comes out of the free agent listing to start doing some work here in the next week or so. And I know Videl, somewhat of a meme, but obviously Baby Vegeta's been struggling, so it might not hurt. So it'll be interesting to see if these teams keep doing what they're doing or if they mix it up. Because obviously after this week, that is a question that needs to be asked. So yeah, that's about all I have on this match.
All right, moving on to match 4, we got GT versus Namek, and some good moments were the late Piccolo versus Vegeta being relatively even to go about it, and then Nuova kind of just taking the match into his own hands after late Piccolo tag, just doing a nice 60,000. I think the best moment of this match is, it's kind of rare to see, but we saw a full Hellzone grenade hit. It wasn't on ground. Well, kind of. He did it on the ground, but Pycon was in the air, and just, hey, fully hit Hellzone grenade does the damage it does. So, yeah. Doorguard, what do you think? What were some moments?
Yeah, I mean, technically that's how he did it in the anime against 17. It was very optimal. No, I guess if they can get him to keep doing that on his attack +2 build, he'll just keep dealing like 16k out of nowhere. Just kind of ridiculous. That's just late Piccolo things. Obviously, rest in peace, King Piccolo stats having to come out and only dealing a minimal amount of damage, but I don't think it was too bad. I think GT showed some good fight there. Excuse me. Shin Shenron was surprisingly the person to kind of drop the ball the most, and he's kind of been their best. So I don't think this is too much of a flaw on their side, but I think he got matched up against Nuova, which meant it was very, very bad for him because it was basically, can he stop Nuova from getting spam off, or will he get nuked down? Because defense is good and all, but getting spammed out can just shred through that Eternal Life or not. So yeah, I mean, it was definitely a lot stronger of a performance from Namek, and one of the few that predictions seemed to get right this week, at least compared to the last few. So it was interesting. And obviously, Pycon being a free agent can't shit on him too hard because he's also still coming in. You get a lot less testing with free agents, and since he's a free agent only, makes it a little harder too because there's no like previous team he was on that you can, get some stuff from. So it can be a little awkward, but they seem to be finding some different things to make him work, but they're still experimenting with him as well. What do you think, N3? There's obviously a lot going on GT's side. They are having another rough start.
Yeah, but they're going to bounce through like they've done before. For me, my focus was just on the opening between Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta and late Piccolo, excuse me. both of these characters are very aggressive. So I was thinking whoever was gonna win the face-off between the two was going to win the match, and I think winning the beam struggle kind of sealed it for Namika's finishing off Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta, and ulting Pikkon and tagging. It was like all the momentums went to Namik's favor, and they just never really let go of it. Sorry for not having that much input, but that's how I saw it.
And from being in the Kai, these people are your next two divisionals.
Yep.
So
Just
yeah,
notes.
yeah, it's just kind of a little scary there. At least if you're fighting Namek.
Keep in
GT.
mind,
Yeah.
I think GT were a little more subdued on their boost, seeing as this is the first divisional for them,
Mhm.
whereas Namek definitely threw down some Zenny, such as having attack
Yeah.
plus 3 late Piccolo.
Yeah.
So
GT and Earth Defenders did not spend any Zenny for the divisionals.
Yeah, some people for at least first divisionals are that going into it, and some people are just going balls to the
well,
walls.
it depends on how confident you are too. Namek has always been a team that will throw Zenny even into non-divisionals, as well as they're just a scary strong team. So you just have to deal with the fact that like they are going to be kind of difficult to deal with boosts or not on their side, and they may have just felt like, hey, this is going to be a match that'd be hard to win without boosts, so let's just save the Zenny for maybe a better time, which is perfectly fair.
Mhm. Completely fair strategy, but was a great match, and I do believe in GT. They last season they went 0-4 and ended up top of East Kai, so you never know.
Yep.
But with that, anyone got anything else to say before we move on?
Nope. I look forward to what they say what they do next, both teams.
All right.
Yeah, for sure. I think it'll be interesting. Obviously, as well, no matter what happens with GT this season, next season they can easily, come back with their, what's it called, with the getting baby back. So.
Yep. All right, and going on to match 6 here. Sorry, I'm losing track. No, match 5.
Match 5.
Okay. You lose track after a while. Going in here, prediction vote is 70 to Bujins, 30 to Muscle. At least going off of what has been done recently, and honestly, we have a really good, decent matchup to start. We have, was it Gohan Buu versus Trunks? Going relatively even on both sides here, and I think another few moments where we actually got to see legendary Super Saiyan Broly and Big 13 for Muscle. Plus, everyone loves it. Lana Burst from Kid Buu, and hey, Spopovich did almost a 40k. It was just 20 damage off. What can you say, Spopovich? But Thor, what you guys say about your match here?
I call total BS. Kid Buu had a 3-bar lead on Blue 13, and Blue 13 in one melee combo took him out, basically, because that's just how powerful the muscle transformations are, and they did. I felt a little sorry at first for their nerf, but now that I've fought against it, it was deserved. That was rough. The fact that, like, my air quote best character couldn't even stand up because he had to fight both legendary Broly and Blue 13, and that's just neither, like, Broly wasn't even doing what his build was supposed to do, and he was still just like, once he went legendary, he did all that 24k basically almost immediately right there, like within like 10 seconds of transforming, is ridiculous. And obviously, we'll give him some congratulations on getting Raccoon finally in a spot that I think they're a little happier with, because he's been struggling a little bit. But yeah, there's not much to say. Obviously, it was a drop ball. Kid Buu had a huge advantage against 13, but 13 being in Android, which is probably the biggest reason he struggled. Just kind of got walled because just to use your B2s, you got to be able to jump back, and 13 doesn't care about that. He just runs into you, especially when he's big. He has such an insane amount of key generation that he doesn't stand around at all. So just an absolute monster. What about you, N3? Obviously, Muscle's a team that started off the season weak, though they would say it's because they're doing it on purpose.
Yeah. First off, congratulations to getting your first win, Muscle. Good job. The match was pretty entertaining to watch. I enjoyed the slugfest between Gohan Boo and Trunks, because whoever won this was going to be whoever was going to pull through was going to take care with the momentum, and eventually once 13 showed up, he just destroyed anything and everything in his path. He is insane. I don't know what they've done with him over on the off season, but whatever it is, it's working.
I'm pretty sure the only thing they gave him was Savior. Pretty sure that's like the only thing that changed.
I guess I haven't really done much of their testing. So
They only did like 20 tests. They didn't do any tests.
yeah,
like not really. The only thing that like majorly changed were the transformation costs, and they put Trunks in base form, and they got Raccoon.
that sounded like a boring off season.
Yeah.
They started doing more tests when Raccoon came over, but for the most part, they were kind of like not doing too much stuff because they kind of aren't as like, I guess they didn't feel like they had as many issues. The biggest thing to say though is that I think 13 switched between attack +1 and defense +2, and he's basically only had attack +1 this season. He's just kind of melded with that.
Yep.
Not sure how that would change too much, and obviously he doesn't seem to be getting too many B1s off in base form because he's still going blue quite consistently, albeit he doesn't have the most blast stocks, so I don't know. It's been interesting. They've been having troubles with their more out there builds because they've been trying to do ult spam on multiple characters at the same time, and that is already just one of the hardest builds to get working, and then they're trying to do it on like 3 characters, so it seems like they're finally stepping away from that a little bit. Raccoon, at least, is no longer trying to do that every second.
I feel like they're just doing that just for all the losses. They're intentionally doing that just to lose.
You never know. And yeah, Raccoon seems getting away from it, but Broly, even when he's on ult spam, he does different. He hits. Big Broly and Big 13 hit different. Anyway, you guys got anything else?
Not really.
No, not really. I think just kind of came down to, as always, if you have an android, who's up against that android, and can they take him out? And if they don't, well, androids do be androids, as we've seen with the fact that several teams have androids this season, and they are quite hard to deal with.
Hey, there's at least some light in the darkness. You got Spofich doing like almost consistently 40k.
It is one thing.
But yeah, moving on. Now we have match 6. Hybrids versus Sentai, and as you can see, a lot of people voted for Sentai because they really wanted to see them win. I think one of the only 65-35 matches. Yeah, going kind of the stats kind of show how the match went. Ultimate Gohan was versus Birder, and Birder kind of slapped him up, doing a nice 70k. And then Birder's like the dodge master, man. Just dodging like ults, B2s, just dodging a lot.
Fastest in the universe.
Fastest in the universe, yes. But I think a lot of the other big moments. Teen and Kid hitting their ults off. Kid actually doing it after winning a rush versus a Power Rage character slash Jace. Jace, in fact, actually tagged at like 3 bars, so it was a really early tag that really thought Sentai would have the advantage here, because it was basically like 1 bar of Say Woman, Say Man, and 3 bars of Jace versus the 1 versus full health Kid Gohan, and yeah, Hybrids kind of just Kid Gohan slapped them up. So Door, what'd you think of this match? There were some moments.
Kind of 2 main moments. One was Say a Woman just absolutely getting like slapped aside and just having a really hard time. And the other is that if Jace had won that clash, which he statistically should have due to Power Rage, he probably would have ulted instead of been ulted, because that's what Kid Gohan did, is he hit his ult on Jace, which allowed basically the turnaround. It's definitely in Sentai's court. This was just one of those weeks where it was a very unlucky thing to have happen, and if it wasn't for that, I think obviously probably should have seen their first win. So it was a little unfortunate, a little frustrating, I think, for them. But it is showing that they have a lot of good stuff going on. I mean, like, this was even with Say Woman doing so bad, the rest of the team had done so well that it was kind of like, okay, well, there's not really, it kind of looks like they still have this, just because Jace was doing some tagging, he was dealing really good damage. Stayman didn't have the best week, but he did he did what he needed to do, and obviously Birder had a standout week, so it just came down to that clash, and unfortunately, we had a lot of beam clashes this week too, and that kind of changed a lot of stuff. I think in the last match, a beam clash is what cost like Evil Boo against Raccoon, which really screwed him over. So, there's a lot of just clashes this week, but beam clashes, especially in a regular clash here, is what lost it for Sentai, unfortunately, though. It just goes to show how, kind of crazy this league can be, though I do think Sentai have it in them to win. These matches coming up here soon. I think it's just around the corner. I think it's definitely very, very doable for them. And they have Captain Ginyu, who's been free agent benched, who's obviously a very decent character. So if Say a Man or Say a Woman just don't seem to be hitting it right, I mean that they have a pretty free bring in, because nobody else is using attack +2 right now. So Captain Ginyu kind of just slots back in naturally. Yeah, what about you? And 3, what do you think about how this match went down? Obviously, Hybrids have always been a threat. They are a North Kai team, but Sentai had some momentum.
They absolutely had the momentum going. I really thought that Bird was amazing. He has shown to be a excellent starter for the team. Makes me wonder what he can do if he's not the starter as much. Seeing what happened to Jason, Kid Gohan was pretty interesting. Not interesting. Pretty amazing, since Kid Gohan actually won that clash. I'm with you, Door. I'm pretty sure that if Jace won that clash, he would have probably ulted Gohan instead.
Crush him all. Like literally anything. He was in max power. Anything would have done what he needed.
But that one thing pretty much sealed the deal, which was I was surprised. I was one of the people who wanted Sentai to win. I will not lie. They're just I just like to root for the team that seems to be down on their luck most of the time. It's kind of like how before free agents and everything, I like rooting for Derp along with my team, because they're basically the champions for the community instead of the actual champions muscle.
I mean, obviously, I would like it if Hybrids takes any losses. It makes me get into playoffs a lot easier. But I think everybody wants Sentai to do well. I don't think that's out of the ballpark to see a team that's they're not even like losing because like haha lol. They're actually trying their ass off to win. So it's just very infuriating to see a team who looked like they had such a good off season to still struggling. So
Yeah,
I think
Snatching
everybody is with them.
snatching defeat from the jaws of victory.
Yep.
yeah. Like wasn't it like last season and maybe a couple weeks of this season, like they're just losing by like that little bit, and it's like if they can push through, they'll win.
Yeah, they've had a lot of minute unlucky moments that just unfortunately, I think any team getting those unlucky moments would also be struggling pretty hard with. It's
Mhm.
just been happening to them.
But with that, got any last thing to say before we move on to the 7th match here?
No.
Yeah, I'm ready to move on.
All right, here we got a 7th match, N3's favorite, Kaiju versus ED, and as you can probably obviously see, ED was the favorable one for the prediction vote here, but Kaiju did manage to pull the win. So I think some moments for me were, hey, Raditz still doing well, actually doing the best for Kaiju this week. Always nice to see. And Goku kind of not even doing his 20k, which is off, but I believe he was versus Bardock, who's a really good character in his own right. But I think the biggest surprising factor for me is that even though it's only the first division, you don't really need it, but I was surprised ED benched Tien for who is arguably one of their stronger characters of their team right now. So Door, what do you think of this?
Well, I mean, ED still looking like a very scary team, though they do have some stuff they're very experimental with, obviously still getting their loans and stuff, and also being a team that seems to test less frequently. But it's a nice job from Kaiju being 3-1, 4 weeks in. Obviously, really putting in all that testing effort, really showing off, and putting the king, letting him stay on his throne instead of actually like interacting on the field seems to be his best position. He's having a standout season up there. I think pretty much any man Kaiju would agree about that. So yeah, I think Raditz having a standout season. Nappa's obviously doing decent. Bardock's still very strong character. Has had more than a few builds in testing, so we'll see what ends up sticking. He's had a few different blue Pataras. Obviously, ED it's just kind of weird. I think they're still getting some stuff settled down. They're a team with minimal supporters, so they are missing out a little bit on some stuff and trying to get some stuff still figured out, but still putting in a lot of good work. What about you, N3? How'd you feel about your own match here? Was it a pretty good one?
It was stressful because of Vegeta and Midku, because they can actually punch through a power body. So I was nervous to see if they were just gonna tear through any of the apes if they transformed. But luckily, Scouter and Nappa were able to hold on. Not to mention Nappa having one of the best speed 2s in the game. The explosive wave was able to finish off mid Vegeta without any hassle when he came back. What surprised me more would be seeing base Enku as a starter. Never would have expected to see him starting at all. It's based on what he usually does for a build. We actually tried to think it was going to be Krillin or Vegeta. That's why we had Raditz on top. But other than that, kind of went the way we thought it would go.
Yeah, I think probably one of the most surprising things from your team this season has just been the absolute powerhouse that Raditz has been out of the gate, taking on a lot of big challengers and beating them. So obviously he's not too crazy different of a build, mostly just AI change. It just seems like he's finally fallen into place, isn't it?
It kind of It kind of depends on the situation, because I'm pretty sure you're the same with your team. Sometimes you, depending on where you want to place your characters, you have to switch up in AI or something like that. What we have is probably where his starting AI. So if we're gonna do something different, we might switch him around. And yeah, it's pretty crazy to see how our weakest character from 2020 season is so far ranked the second best of our team, right behind Scouter.
It's a wonder of what certain things from a team just constantly testing can do for you. But hey, it's always nice to see Raditz doing well. And pretty sure a lot in the community really like seeing Raditz do well, especially for just the character himself. But
Credits has always had a good kit. It's just been about getting it to work.
Getting it.
I think everybody except King Vegeta, they would say have like a kit that's very manageable and can obviously be like used very well. He's just been the only one who's like really not.
and even their FA on the Team Roshi has a decent enough kit to mesh well. So
Got to thank Muscle for all those tests when he was put against Raditz with their version of a B1 build, so that was fun to take notes from.
hey, getting notes on Raditz and Roshi at the same time.
Yep.
But with that, you got any last final remarks? Because we got 3 more slides to go.
No, not really.
No.
Alright, moving on to the last match here, and probably a lot of the weirdest ones. We got Resurrected Warriors and Cold Kingdom with a 40 to 60% prediction vote for this match. Starting off, we have King Cold versus Maju going really just about even, only really a 5k damage difference between the two, and the match really starts picking up once Ader comes in. Just Ader's kind of just taking it to Mecha Frieza, taking it to 100% Frieza, and before finally going down. But I think one of the 2 biggest moments I had in this match were Monsters Arbonne doing his grab spam, doing a nice like 15 to near 20, like around 15-20k damage from just grabs alone. Yeah, Tech plus 2 serious Master Throw will do that. And I think the other one is 100% Frieza, just who normally might have countered someone like Ader, just kind of just fell off during Ader, especially during that ult during an Ader's anger. So Door, what do you think of this match?
I mean, obviously, Resurrected Warriors still running quite high on their new team, and still getting the wins. Obviously, being the only undefeated team, though. Cold Kingdom looked to be a big threat to them. Obviously, they have a lot of characters looking very solid, and even with 100 or with Cooler out, it still seemed like they would have a pretty good lineup going in. But yeah, I think Ader shut down 100% Frieza, and that was basically all that was needed to really end the match. I think if 100% Frieza had another match like he has had in the last few weeks, where he was just powering up and spamming out some big D2s for high damage, it would have been a lot different. But yeah, King Cold, Monsters Arbonne still showing their works. Mecha Frieza having a above average week. It just came down to that poor matchup. Obviously being a character that wants to spam and use B1s, going up against Ader, who's an android, who doesn't care about any of that because he just gains all of his key bars in 10 seconds, and then he can use 4-bar B2s every 3 seconds. It's hard to deal with. It's very rough. So it's just a hard time. So we'll see who finally does take Resurrected Warriors off their mantle, if they ever do. But as of now, they are still holding out strong up top, though Cold Kingdom has definitely been a pretty big contender. at least in their division, for being a strong team. What do you think, N3? Obviously, both these teams have been looking quite fierce this beginning of the season.
When this match started, I just expected it to be a spam fest with the Frieza. Both Friezas like to spam their ultimates all over the place, and Resurrected Warriors had Spammy on back. And so I just expected B2s off the wazoo. At least I got to see Tapion's ultimate as a finisher. That was really nice to see. Yeah, Zarbon with those grabs is just insane to watch. It just makes you glad that you're not facing them again. Like how we did with Roshi previous week, so glad I don't have to see that anymore. But Ader was amazing. There's no other description for it. He was just amazing, always in the face with tank, shutting down 100% ult with his B2, even though it was even though 100s was launched a bit too late from it, but it was still amazing to see Ader do what he did.
So, yeah, overall good match, and I think maybe the team that's going against next week might bring Resurrected Warriors down, but we can get to that in a little bit. But with that, shall we get moving on, or do you have anything else to say?
I'm good.
Yeah, not really. I think both these teams kind of came with a good lineup. It just came down to matchups, as always.
And moving on, we have the power rankings slide here. The power rankings are just the rankings of the teams based on, I believe, based on their total win-loss, main plus preseason. Most of the people did test during the preseason, so don't know how accurate this totally is, and I believe it also has to do with stats from the team also going in. But yeah, we got Resurrected Warrior. We got the top three here: Resurrected, Kaiju, and Namek. I think N3 is certainly happy to be part of the top three teams in this one here.
I never noticed it.
I think still the biggest surprise for me is Derp still hanging on to the top 5 there. It's nice to see. But you either got some comments about this?
I was wondering, the numbers on the left side are the combined of preseason with main season. It's a little confusing because there's obviously not been 8 matches. There's only been 8 matches in total, so it's not really shown super well. But yeah, it's a little hard to tell because it looks like you copied it a little wrong. You need to expand the thing a little bit because Rugrats has Earth Defender's number with them and their own number, so just be wary of some stuff like that. But yeah, biggest thing is just kind of like a basis based off wins and stuff, though this may change in how it's calculated.
Yeah, I got nothing really to say about this.
Yeah, still trying to figure this all out myself. We only did this for like this week and last week. Still have to talk to Oasis about it. But moving on, we have the predictions here, and no Elite this week, which is first thing to say, no Elite. Did get near Elite, but it's honestly quite surprising. Nearing every week we have at least someone go maybe like near Elite or do really well, but we haven't had one since the first week. So, but yeah, I've got tier lists on the left and right there. Left is the week, and the right is the averages of week 1 to 4. Moving on, we have week 5 predictions. We got hybrids versus muscle to start, and I think if muscle goes big form, I think they can take the win, but overall I'm going to have to give it to hybrids.
Yeah, I think it's going to come down to be very close. Bojack coming back in. Obviously, an ex-Gohan himself, so we may see Gojek. I think I'm going to give it to hybrids. I think they're looking a little more solid. Broly and such are still just a little too out there.
My vote is for hybrids as well. I think that we might see decent showing from Muscle, but I feel like Kid Gohan, Future Gohan, and Future, not Future Trunks, Sword Trunks have shown to be a bit more consistent.
Technically,
And
he is Future Trunks, by the way.
What?
Technically, he is Future Trunks. He's just the
With the
form
sword.
for the form before armor.
Yeah. But it's classified as Trunks Sword, so it's sword. But
It's weird.
yeah, they have more consistent characters. I don't think Muscle can hold on with just relying on someone like 13, even if 13 does like 95,000 on week 1 or 71,000 on week 4. So I think the team that's more balanced will take it. Hybrids for me.
All right, so we got 3-0 to hybrids. Moving on to match 2 here, we got Cold and ED. Personally, I think what happened with Cold this week was maybe just a little bit of fluke versus Ader. Though we have Cooler and Tien coming back in. That could make a difference, but I'm going to have to give it Cold still. Cooler. It's proved to be a decent character, and even if he doesn't perform as well, the rest of Cold can certainly make up for that, doing like 50 to 60k most of the time.
I think I'm going to give it to ED. I think they've been looking really solid for a while now. It's just been a little bit in that Sentai vote of having some unlucky moments or characters getting snapped out of something like right before it gets real well. So, I don't know. I think Cold's going to obviously have a very strong team come in with Cooler coming back. But it's going to be interesting. Nonetheless, I think both these teams are looking pretty good. So I'm going to give it to ED here.
Although I would like them to lose because they're in my division, I'm going to have to go with ED. Because Tien's coming back, he's a pretty obnoxious tank. He'll just screw around with his defense 2 and EL and do small amounts of burst damage with Dodon Rays. Maybe a few Tri-beams, but I think having all that bulk plus those moments of burst damage will help ED take over Cold. I could be wrong. I would like to see Cold ult spam all to hell, but I think the staying power will keep ED from losing this week.
All right, so we got 2-1 going to side ED, but I think we all agree Cold will be bringing a strong lineup. We got match 3 here with Namek versus Budokai, and we have Mercenary Tao and Nail coming back in. I think I do believe Namek will take this one, but no, do think Namek will take this one with some difficulty because of Mercenary Tao, but I don't think Budokai can completely rely on Mercenary Tao all the time to try to carry them out of a scuffle. And while Namek has some consistent characters like Late Piccolo, Nail still consistent, and he's coming back in, and Nuova. And hey, who knows? We might see King Piccolo not on cleanup this week.
Yeah, I think I'm going to give it to Namek. I think they just have a little more complete look around coming right now, though it's hard to say. There's a lot going on at the Budokai camp right now, although wouldn't be unsurprising. I'm going to still keep it on the side of Namek, though, for getting the win.
I'm going with Namek. They just seem to be more of a powerhouse, and Budokai seems to just have been struggling a bit. Namek seems more balanced with with Nail. He's been showing decent results for some moments. Well, and if King Piccolo is not put at the last spot, maybe he won't be a cleanup. But I am pretty sure Namek's going to take it to Budokai.
Mm-hmm. So we got 3-0 going to Namek. Going on to match 4th here, we have Androids versus Derp. We have Herc and Super 17 coming in this week. I think it's going to be quite a close one, but I'm going to have to actually give it to Derp. No offense towards Androids. I think you guys can bring a strong lineup, but Herc can throw up massive B2 damage, just can stay in for a while because of False Courage, while still having someone like Vegito. Salsa's still a consistent character, and Supreme Kai recently has been looking way up on his game, so I'm going to have to give it to Derp by a slight edge. I think it will be a close one, though.
Yeah, I think it's going to be an interesting match. Android's looking good, Derp looking good. Though when it comes down to it, Derp's obviously been looking a lot better. So I'll just give it to them as they are currently on their momentous run.
Yeah, I'm going with Derp as well. The champ's coming back, so I'm expecting a whole lot of presents from him. So he's just, I feel like he's gonna go to town for this week. That's just my feeling, but and like Doorguard said, that they're very momentous right now. Uh, excuse me. I'm just gonna go with Derp.
All right, so we're at 3-0 to Derp, but Androids can definitely pull something out of their butt. Yeah, especially with if they keep the Cell 17 game in. But here we have GT versus Fujins. I think this one will be a lot closer of a match for the week before we discounting divisionals, but I think by maybe a slight margin, Fujins will get this because I don't think GT. Actually, wait, most of GT's characters have Nature Iconic Aura, but with how consistent Fujins have been, even with a little slight flukes like last week, Fujins will have this. GT Goku has been kind of really a volatile character, been being built for ult spam and not really doing it, so just going to have to give the slight edge to Fujins.
I mean, obviously, it's my team, so I'm going to give them the vote. Outside of that, obviously GT's been team a little on the down and out. The Bujin's just coming off a loss too, so we'll see how it turns out. But obviously, I'm going with my own squad here on the Bujins.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go with Bujins as well. I feel like that even though it's early in the season, I feel like GT is kind of a momentum-based team. So if Bujins can shut them down, their Bujins will be able to take it. I'm also going to expect that it's going to be like Buhan versus Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta, and just watch it all go from there. But I'm gonna say Bujins are going to beat GT.
All right, we got 3-0 to Bujins going on to the. Got 3 other Bujins. Going on to the first divisional of the week. This week is West Kai divisionals. Yay. We have Resurrected Warriors versus Royals, and here, from what I was talking about earlier, I think Royals have the power to take Resurrected Warriors down from their undefeated pedestal, even because like Baby's come back in, even though early Goku's coming back in. I do think Royals will be putting in their best lineup for this, so like Lord Slug, Meta, Majin Vegeta, Baby. But yeah, I do think Royals will take this, though not discounting Resurrected Warriors. They are a strong team, and you do have to find ways of getting around like Aider and early Goku.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna just go with Resurrected Warriors. Wells are certainly one of the strongest. Also have a squad that looks insanely strong, but they've dropped a few games that Resurrected Warriors has not. So I'll stick with Resurrected Warriors for now.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'm sticking with the Resurrected Warriors. I'm pretty sure they're also going to bring their best lineup, and I'm not saying that early Goku is the weakest of the lineup. I think that they have a better lineup overall against Royal, so I'm going to stick with the Resurrected Warriors.
All right. Going 2-1 to Resurrected Warriors, but it's a divisional match. We'll see how it goes. Moving on to match 7 here, we have Kaiju and Sentai, and it pains me to say this, but not because I don't like Kaiju or I don't like Sentai, but I really want Sentai to win. But I feel like with what Kaiju has and them being on home map, I think Kaiju has the tools to just shut Sentai down, since most of them are rushed base characters, even though they have B2s that take out stuff like apes. So yeah, I'm giving it to Sentai, or not Sentai, Kaiju.
Yeah, it's gonna be an interesting one. Just going off how the teams have been doing, it's pretty easy to throw my vote at Kaiju. I want to see Sentai get a win, but I think they are going to have a little bit of a tough time because Kaiju's been on the roll.
Well, I'm obviously going to vote for my team. So for Kaiju. Sentai, I'm really sorry. I want you guys to win, but not against us. So, not to mention, they do. I know they're bringing a Gohan back, but we are thinking they're gonna have to bring. They're gonna send out one of their better characters since next week is their divisional. So I think they're gonna uh, sit out either Berter or Jace, like whoever's their better character out of the two. And I think that would uh, cause some sort of setback against us. And it depends on the matchups, but I'm pretty sure we have an answer for each of the four. So Kaiju.
Alright, so we got 3-0 to Kaiju, even though all of us really want to see Sentai get their first win.
Yeah.
Moving on to the last match here, being the last divisional of the week. We have Cinema versus Rugrats. Of course, me being my own team, I have to vote for Cinema. But I think honestly, for me, it depends. Is Gotenks going to be in or is Gotenks not? Because we have plans for either of those, and we know Jane and Goten are coming back in.
Always the question now, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Well, as you said, Rugrats was obviously the better team by like 17 miles, so let's just go 3-0 Rugrats. Sound good, guys?
Hold on.
It's kind of hard. Are they willing to risk putting Gotenks in for a divisional, or because Cinema is the most balanced team? It's just that Gotenks is a massive wild card. I might go with the more balanced team of Cinema though.
Alright, so we got a 2-1 going to Cinema, and with that, we've come to the end of the Capsule Cast. There is a link to the Discord, the Twitter, and the website in the description below. We don't bite, I say this every week, but yeah, there you can meet some nice people, check out builds, check out the rules. And with that, I'm your host, Destiny.
I'm the co-host, Doorguard.
I am not the coach N3.
And we will be seeing you next time.
Have a good one.
See ya.
All right.